Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have two fantastic guests joining us live, Cat Cressida, Eddie Deezen, a mini Dexter's Laboratory reunion, plus we'll take your calls and questions, and a special prize to give away. After that, my interview with my favorite late-night talk show host, Craig Ferguson, where you can catch him on tour. All that and more, stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're streaming us, Joey V's in studio with me tonight, so we do have video. Hello to all of you watching on YouTube and Facebook. As always, if you're streaming us on the KTRS app or wherever you might be listening to it, we appreciate that as well. And of course, if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form, I know a lot of you like to wait till afterwards to listen. We appreciate you doing that. Hopefully you've subscribed by now, left us a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice. That always helps us out in the search engine optimization, and we appreciate that greatly. There's still early birds in the chats already. Hello to BK on the Air, listening from Atlanta, Georgia. Joseph Rogers and Steve Holman right here in St. Louis. Nicole Brown, Edible Stilettos, hello to you. Patrick Stewart McCullough, also listening. Thank you very much for tuning in, all of you early birds. I know people tune in and out throughout the time. If you're listening on KTRS and don't watch this on the stream, we've got the KTRS text lines at 84126. If you have a question for either Kat or Eddie, you can text us there. I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the YouTube chats, the Facebook chats, and the text while engaging my guests. So I'm not that good at multitasking. Ask anybody who knows me, but I'm going to do my best tonight. It's fantastic to have both of these sensational guests on a mini Dexter's Laboratory reunion. Cat Cressida was on with us not that long ago, and this is my first time having Eddie on the show. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Kat has told me so many wonderful things about you, James. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, good. My payments to Kat were well worth it then, if that's the case. It's so exciting. This is, if I'm not mistaken now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time the two of you have done a mini Dexter's Laboratory reunion on a podcast or radio show. Is that correct?
I think it is, Kat, isn't it?
Yes, it
We've
is.
done shows together. We've done signing shows.
We've done signings and shows, but we haven't officially broadcast together.
Yeah, hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, this is exciting. So I'm the first. That's exciting to have. And I know that the two of you are now now that you've kind of, I guess, reacquainted, refound each other. Now you guys are actually doing these tours. So if people are listening right now, you guys already have some dates scheduled where you'll be. If people want to come and meet the both of you, that's exciting too, that people can actually come out, because I know Kat travels with a fantastic array of Haunted Mansion things. She's got vaulted Funko Pop. She's got Disney treasures and all these amazing things. It's like a little shopping mall right there on Kat's tables. So talk a little bit about the two of your upcoming dates. Do you have those you can mention?
Yeah, I actually have a list here. So here we go. This is just like covering the first month or so. So, and then some upcoming. So next week, Texoma, Eddie's going to be in Oklahoma, Durham, Oklahoma. And then March 8th, he's going to be at the Toy Man Toy Show in St. Louis. March 26th to 29th, I'll be at LexCon. I'm very excited about that. The big convention in Lexington, Kentucky.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. And then April 18th, 19th is our first together one. That's in Virginia, in Roanoke, Virginia, which is a really cool, spooky pop culture.
Yeah.
And man, I am so impressed by these promoters. They go to town on making a really awesome, spooky experience. So
and it's funny, Kat, too. We've done, I guess you're the same, but we've done shows that are not our genre. I've done anime shows.
Yeah.
Denise and I've done horror shows, and you find your friend. Kat and I each have we have a joint following with Dexter, and we each have our own individual followings, and they find us, even if it's not our genre,
Yeah, that's true. And then we've got another one.
Anime. Have you ever done anime, Kat? I've never done any, but we've done anime shows.
Yeah.
I
did anime way back when I was first starting in. And then one more show I just need to mention is Hauntmare in July in Central California. Eddie and I are both going to be at another spooky halfway to Halloween show.
Okay, there you go.
So instead of Christmas in July, it's Halloween in July. I love it.
Yeah. Halfway to
Hauntmare.
Halloween.
Ooh, that's fun. Talk about Dexter's Lab for a second, since we've got you both here. I didn't realize, and I know Kat and you and I talked a little bit about the Dee Dee Mandark fandom that just ships the two of you guys. I've seen fan art. I've went down a rabbit hole. I did a Google search, and there's so much really incredible fan art out there. Not like just someone doodling. It's not like I drew a couple of stick figures. These people do some fantastic art. Were you guys surprised when you came across this kind of thing?
Go ahead, Kat. I was going to say, the following of the show, I've done a few major films, some really good projects, but almost every show, inevitably, the biggest selling picture is always Dexter's Laboratory. What have you got, Dexter and Dee Dee? Well, you got any Dexter's Laboratory stuff? It's always our biggest seller, bigger than Grease. It's bigger than Polar Express, anything, almost always. So the show has a tremendous following. Yeah.
And
Kat, you were in every episode, I think. I did 22 episodes. You were in way more than me, but that's the show. That's the one everybody remembers me for. Everybody's like, it's Mandark. Yeah, do the Mandark lap. That's what they want.
Yeah. As far as fan art, I've seen it internationally from every country. I get tagged on, and you and I were joking, James, but I've seen everything from adorable, very close to Cartoon Network vibe, and all the way up to pornographic.
Oh, God.
The whole romance between Dee Dee and Mandark, what they look like as adults. It's gone into rated X all the way down to rated PG. So
what's the radio show? We're governed by FCC law, so we won't talk about any of the pornographic things on the air, just in case anyone's listening of who's going to get me in trouble.
All these stories.
So, but it's so cool that these characters, and you see that a lot with animation, where it'll be the most obscure character. As you said, Eddie, Mandark was in several episodes, but there'll be people who were on 2 or 3 episodes of an animated thing, and it just blows up. And I feel like animation really lends itself to that. And I know I posted a picture of the two of you were sitting, it looks like in a library, and Mandark's looking at you with googly hard eyes, Kat, and it was put that up for Valentine's Day, and it got a great reaction. People love it.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. And I think this is the perfect time for this, too, because the nostalgia waves, I feel like the 80s wave is kind of crested. We're solidly into the 90s wave of nostalgia from all this stuff. Like Power Rangers are coming back huge. I see people constantly talking about Power Rangers. And Dexter's Lab, luckily Cartoon Network is bringing it back, which I think is a smart move.
Oh, are they? Good. That's good news.
No, Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. That's
Adult Swim on
Swim, yes. Cartoon Network folded, which was sad. But everybody has fond memories. Those were such great days. That was the last great cartoon days, I think, on TV, was the, Johnny Bravo and the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab. They had this great lineup of shows, and they were so wonderful. I didn't really follow, me subjectively, I didn't follow cartoons much after that era.
Did you, obviously you're in animation, Kat, you do a lot of voice work, man, a lot of voice work. Are you someone who keeps up with what goes on, the trends of something? Or obviously, like you said, people are sending you pictures. Other than that, are you very much aware of the popularity of other projects you've done, unless you're at a con and seeing it in front of you?
I mean, now it's a great question. Now I'm much more aware because of doing the fan convention circuit. I'm still fairly new to it, but I'm often deeply impressed by the things that I get brought up to sign, projects that I did, maybe way back when I first started, not counting Dexter's Laboratory, but very rare old school video games like Vampires, Baldur's Gate. I did a bunch of Ratchet and Clank 16 years ago, but also the anime games that I'm part of. There's one called Epic 7, which is just blown up. I think it's been going strong for at least 10 years. And I'm realizing I've got to add that photo to my collection of 8x10s that I offer at my table, because people are coming up with their, own stuff, or bummed that I don't have it. But yes, to answer your question, I'm really impressed by how much people know about stuff that I've been honored to do or that we'll bring up for a signature.
And I think too.
Can I ask Kat one question?
Yeah.
Jack, you can get this all the time, Kat. And I know you so well, but I never knew the answer to this. You're such a beautiful lady. Did you do much on camera, or did you always just want to get into voiceovers?
Oh, Eddie. There's that charm. No, I started out on camera, and the weird thing was, James and I touched base on this a little bit, but thank you for asking. I jumped into that in the very early 90s.
Right, we're taking live calls. We have someone who's calling in with the questions, but go ahead, Kat. Go ahead. I'm going to put them on hold. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So I jumped in the early 90s and on camera and got really lucky and did a whole bunch. So
a whole bunch of voiceovers.
James, you're still on.
No, you guys can hear me over the thing. I had my microphone off, so no one else.
Okay.
So yeah, that's but go ahead, Kat. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I did a bunch of on camera. I did Murder, She Wrote, Diagnosis Murder, all of the 90s sitcoms, including Friends. And there people also up with random photos of those. The one that's blown up is I don't think you and I talked about this, James, but maybe we did Babylon 5.
We did, yeah, because that's a huge. It's really blown up.
You work with Jeffy.
Sorry,
Jeff Conaway. You work with Jeffy. Wasn't that Jeff's series? Yes.
Yes.
Great guy.
Which was also unbelievable for me. Oh my God. I mean, that was. I told James. I joked with him. That was the only thing I was excited about at the time for doing the sci-fi show. It was like, Kaneki here on set.
He was a character, wasn't he? He was a real character.
He was so kind to me. That was my very first on-camera gig was Babylon 5. And it was just supposed to be a one-off playing this bartender, and it turned into a recurring guest star. Mostly thanks to the cast, which was so generous and kind to me. They just kept saying, we should have someone to interact with. Bring back that bartender girl.
Oh, very cool.
Kat the bartender. Yeah. We've got some. Since you guys heard me, but we have some people calling in already. I'm trying to watch the comments too, and we'll get to some of the comments in just a minute. So Patrick and Steven, I see your comments. So don't go. I'm going to repeat your comments back. But in the meantime, we got live callers on the show. We're going to go to line 1, if I'm doing this correctly. I believe we have Chris on the line. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Thanks for calling in tonight. You said you had a question for our guests?
Yes, I have a question for Eddie. So I am a fan of both of you. Dexter's Lab was a big part of my childhood, as is Grease. I am a huge Grease fanatic. But the movie that I wore out in my childhood was Rock-a-Doodle.
Oh, yes.
With Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites of all time, I just had to ask if you got the chance to record with like Glenn Campbell and Ellen Green and Phil Harris in his last film role, or if y'all recorded in the same room or if it was individual like recording sessions.
Great question. And as Kat will tell you, recordings, they can go both ways. I get that question all the time. Were you with the whole cast alone? It goes either way. That was a movie where we did it alone, or at least I was alone. I was doing the booth when I did my role. I didn't get the pleasure of Glenn Campbell or any of those people. Or Phil Green.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Hello, you're on with KTRS. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Ryan Cooper.
Hello, Ryan. How are you?
I am very well, enjoying the show so far. I'm ashamed to say I'm new to Eddie's work, but he seems so charming on this show that I'm definitely going to look at everything he does, and he's got really cool glasses, so I appreciate that. But I will tell you... But I will tell you, James, as someone who got a brand new Constance Hatchaway ornament for Christmas this year and very proudly have it displayed now well into February, I was very excited to see that you were going to have Kat on your show. and had a question if that was okay. So,
go right ahead. Sorry.
Yes. So no, it's okay. So Kat, welcome to St. Louis in a way. But we are very proud here of having kind of a lengthy history of many great Disney voice talents. We of course have the great John Goodman, who did Monsters Inc., and Robert Guillaume, who was Rafiki in The Lion King, and even Cliff Edwards, who was the voice of Jiminy Cricket. He got his entertaining start in St. Charles, where James's Comic-Con is. So I guess my question is, as someone who made their career doing voice work, what was it like to, get that call from Disney to join such an iconic attraction? Because you think of the Haunted Mansion, everyone loves it.
It's a great question, and I
yeah.
can jump right in and tell you.
Yes.
What is that? Are we good?
Go ahead. Yeah, we're
okay.
good.
Great. It was you don't get a call. I mean, at least I don't get a call. We have to audition for things. I'm sure that Tom Cruise would get a call. Hey, join us. But most of us, as Eddie can probably attest, do a lot of auditioning. I think way back in the 90s, there was a lot more direct bookings. That's what that's called, when somebody does just get an offer. But voiceovers become so big and so blown up and such a huge part of the market that everything that I did for Disney that was larger, a bigger credit, like Haunted Mansion, Jessie, Elektra for Marvel, those were all through auditions and callbacks. Way back in the day, I was getting invited to do things like read-alongs for Walt Disney Records. But anything that is significant that's going to be part of a major franchise, you're usually going through at least one or two auditions. Haunted Mansion was 3 auditions. But I can tell you, when I did get the phone call that I booked Constance Hatchaway, that was a major life-making moment, because I grew up honoring the Imagineering legacy, Walt Disney. My dad had worked with Imagineers. So the idea that I might potentially be part of the classic Haunted Mansion, I wasn't eating or sleeping for 2 weeks after the final callback. Literally, I was just like, if some other girl gets this, I'm going to kill him. I could not live with that. So that was a huge, huge honor. Not really kill him, just nicely in my thoughts.
Right. Ryan, does that answer your question, sir?
I think that's great. And I hope, as a fan of Haunted Mansion, that, there are iconic voices in that attraction. I mean, from Paul Frees to Eleanor Audley, but Kat Cressida deserves her place on that Mount Rushmore of iconic Haunted Mansion voices. And know that for many, many years in the future, I'm going to be quoting I did, thinking of you. So thank you for the work that you've done. And I look forward to when I'm down at Disney World in March. I'll be listening for your voice in the attic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Take care, Ryan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Trying to keep an eye on the chats here for the comments as well. Thank you, Ryan. We've got, let's see, Patrick Stewart. Let's see, Emily's listening from Baldwin. Hello, Emily. Patrick says, we love you guys and we love your works, to Eddie and Kat. Ian said, my favorite Eddie cinematic moment. Oh, it's a Google link. I can't, Ian, if you're listening to this, I can't see. It's just a Google link. So I'll have to look that up afterwards in the chats. But Eddie, you have a fan in Ian.
He's probably referring to one of my love scenes.
That could very well be.
Very popular, yeah. Both women and men.
But I'll tell you what, we're about almost 20 minutes in. Let's take a real quick commercial break so we can, this is a good pausing point. We'll take a quick break while we reset everything. And if you've got a question for Eddie or for Kat, you can leave it on the KTRS text lines 84126. Leave it in the comments. No Google links, please, just for the purposes of my sanity. Or give us a call, 314-931-5877. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
I don't know anybody who hasn't been to Milo's. Located in the heart of the hill across from St. Ambrose Church, family-owned Milo's helps anchor the neighborhood. They treat their staff like family. They treat their patrons like family. And you can feel that when you go there. Milo's Bocce Garden is a proud supporter of the Backstoppers on KTRS. For great food, a great patio experience with the best bocce in town, visit Milo's Bocce Garden on the hill. And Milo's is available for private parties. Online at milosboccegarden.com.
For over 60 years, Royal Banks of Missouri has been committed to serving our communities with purpose and providing our clients with exceptional service to help them achieve their financial goals. Stop by any of their locations in St. Louis, St. Charles, Illinois, or Northeast Missouri to discover how Royal Banks of Missouri can support you at any step in life's journey. Call 314-212-1500 or visit royalbanksofmo.com for more information. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The real Ghostbusters eat souls.
You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstall. Want to make sure we tell you about our official comic book sponsor, Bugs Comics and Games. If you are looking to pick up some new comic books, if maybe Wednesday you want to get out and get the new releases, may I recommend Bugs Comics and Games, located on Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri, easily accessible from either Highway 70 or from Highway 364. Head on out there, because it's one of those things like people complain now about, oh, I wish the malls were still around. I miss the shopping malls. You're going to miss comic book stores when they go away, so get out and support these small local businesses like Bugs Comics and Games. New comics every Wednesday. You can go in and start a pull list so you never miss anything. If you're worried about the new Absolute Batman selling out, or if you're worried about missing the Infernal Hulk, go ahead and put those on your pull list. That way, Larry will order them for you. Make sure they're put aside in a bin. You don't have to worry about having that missing from the shelf when you go in there on Wednesday or Thursday or later. And, oh, it's sold out. It's already put aside for you. Join the Avengers Club so you start saving money on your weekly pull list. You'll also save money on your back issues, your toys, your games, your bags, your boards, whatever it is you're picking up. And of course, back issues. I always say it's not a real comic book store if they don't have back issues. He's got a ton of long boxes you can browse through to fit just about any price point. If you're looking to just fill some holes in your collection, maybe you're missing some issues of Tachyon or Aztec, he's probably got those in the dollar bin. If you're looking for something a little more substantial, got some really nice comics from the Silver Age and Bronze Age in the case or behind the desk or on the wall, something to fit whatever you're looking for. Indie comics, Marvel comics, DC, whatever it might be, Larry's got it. Follow him on Instagram, Bugs Comics and Games there. Facebook.com/Bugs Comics and Games. If your local comic book store went out of business, he can be your new comic book store online. Follow him online. If you see something he posts, say, I want that. He sends you a PayPal invoice. You pay it. He ships it right to your door. Easy as that. Bugs Comics and Games. Very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Joined now for a while longer here by Kat, Cressida, and Eddie Deezen talking about their career. I'm curious. I know we had some questions come in on the phone. We took some comments there. I'm curious. Voiceover is, Kat, you mentioned this earlier with one of the questions. Especially now, it's very hard to get into it. It's almost like celebrities are now flocking to it. It was just pure talent when the two of you started doing it, and that's what got you in the role. Do you remember, was it hard to break into? Because, Kat, you started on camera as well. We'll start with Kat on this one. When did you feel like you really broke in, and how hard was it?
It's a great question. Let's see. It was easier to access and to shift from on camera to voiceover back then because there was a much smaller pool. Toy Story had come out, but Tom Hanks, I think you and I may have touched base on this briefly. That was the turning point in terms of A-list celebrities doing the mainstream animation. Broadway stars have been doing it. Certainly, Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, some amazing talent. But in terms of A-list celebrities from film and TV, that was sort of, Toy Story changed that. And that was around the same time I was breaking into voiceover, was the mid-90s. So it was still difficult. I mean, it wasn't like you just got in front of the mic and started booking. It took a while for me to get momentum, read for a lot of commercials before I booked my first one, which was a McDonald's commercial and Jiffy Lube. Yay. And in terms of animation, that was the weird one. I booked that almost immediately because there had been that interesting situation at Cartoon Network had just gotten launched. Dexter's Laboratory had just gotten picked up for series. They there was a whole bunch of, behind the scenes magic going on in terms of figuring out what Dee Dee was going to be. And that took off like a shot. And that was one of the worst case, best case scenarios ever, because yay, booked a series. It certainly wasn't the huge thing it's become now.
Right.
It was still brand new, but it was gaining traction. And I was literally in the room with the rock stars of animation. I mean, the biggest names in animation: Rob Paulson, Jeff Bennett, Chris Kavanaugh, Kath Soucie, Tom Kenny was a recurring guest star, Charlie Adler, and of course Eddie was a recurring guest star. So I was in the room with these people that I literally worshipped in terms of their status. They were the Tom Cruises, are the Tom Cruises of animation, and I was just figuring out the microphone. So
and Eddie, I know you did a lot of on-camera work too. Obviously, we've already talked about a little bit. They mentioned Grease and Grease 2, but 1941, some of my favorite shows back in the day I used to watch when I was a kid: Fall Guy, Facts of Life, all these great things. Do you remember that moment when you would, what was your experience, I guess I should say, breaking into voice acting?
Okay, my genesis is weird. It wasn't voiceovers per se. My genesis with voiceovers was this. I started doing all on camera. In 1983, I did a movie called War Games. I have one scene. I played Mr. Potato Head. I'm a computer expert, and Denise will tell you, I know nothing about computers. I can barely turn one on. But I played a computer expert in the movie, and I kept screwing up. I had only one scene. I kept screwing up a scene. Matthew Broderick was there, and a guy named Maury Chaikin. And I had to say the words data encryption algorithm. I can say it now. But James, I kept screwing up over and over. It's a new data endocrine algorithm. Cut. And I screwed up. It's a new data endocrine algorithm. Cut. And I kept screwing up. So we had a director, and it was not who was the famous guy that did War Games? It was not I forget his name, but anyway, he beckons me over with his finger. He crooks me. Come here, Eddie. We're going to go for a little walk. He puts his arm around my shoulders. He goes, "You're costing the studio money." He goes, "We're going to get you what's called idiot cards." He literally said, "Wait, he goes, we're going to get you idiot cards." So they printed my rollout on the cards, and I read the thing. It's a new data encryption algorithm, and I got it in one take. I go, "Wait a minute, this is great." I nailed it, and I realized you can just read it. That's the advantage. A lot of people have the talent. Cat probably could do it easy. Tom Hanks did Shakespeare on stage. I have a hard time memorizing lines with my big button. And voiceover, you just get to read a script. You're sitting there reading a script. Any fool can do that. So and you read it that way. So that was my genesis. I formally broke into about 1990. That's when I started doing voiceovers. And I got Dexter's, I think, in 96. Cat, I think that was the first year. And I started doing, I don't know if we even have them anymore, but I would do what was called radio spots. This was before the internet. We'd do radio spots in those days. A spot for this and a spot for that. You do a 1 minute spot. And there's a place in Hollywood called Dick Orkin's Radio Ranch. I used to work there all the time. So you come out, I'd take the bus down there and do a spot there. And that was how I broke into them.
Huh. I mean, and yeah, it's funny that they called it idiot cards. And I looked it up, and then the window closed here. But that War Games was another one of those great 80s films. And I wanted to ask you quickly, just on a personal note, Eddie, huge Tim Conway fan. You got to work with him on the Dorf, some of the Dorf franchise. How did you find working with Tim?
Nicest guy that ever lived. As again, Kat and I can compare notes because we've all been through the same experience. We've worked with dozens of comedians. There are two kinds of comedians. Some have a ready sense of humor and they'll laugh and they'll get in and they'll kid around. And some comedians, man, it's like, you go, this is, I'm not Bob Hope, I'm not saying Bob Hope per se, but some comedian, Bob Hope, whatever, and they don't laugh at all. And you go, this guy's comedian, but somehow they've managed to become a successful comedian and they have literally no sense of humor off stage. They're very serious men. Now, Tim Conway was a giggler. He had the greatest sense of humor in the world. Everything I did broke him up. Hi, Tim. He was just like a little kid giggler. He was the sweetest guy in the world. Everybody loved him. And every minute working with him was a pleasure. He was just a joy and a delight. He was one of my heroes as a kid. I used to watch a show called McHale's Navies. That's how McHale's Navy when I was a kid in the 60s. That's how old I am. And I would watch him. He was one of my heroes. And then to work with him, he was great. And we did some of the Dwarfs together. We did a movie called The Expendables or something, some movie in the 90s. And that was the first thing I did with him and Harvey Korman. And he was just always the greatest guy. He's one of the people that is so loved in the business because he was such a nice guy.
And I know, Kat, you and I briefly talked last time I had you on about, because another fan of mine, hero of mine is Dick Van Dyke. You got to work on Diagnosis Murder, and we talked about that a little bit. But I'm curious, for each one of you, oh my gosh, see, I love it.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Kat, I heard he's the nicest guy in the world too, isn't he? I've never heard a bad word about Dick Van Dyke.
Unbelievable. And more than nice. So I don't know if you can see this, and I don't want to monopolize the
No, I can see
show.
it. It's a great picture.
Can you see that I'm fakely pregnant, like overly pregnant there?
Right.
I didn't notice until you pointed. Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was an episode, it was a special 2-part episode, one of those season cliffhanger thingies. So a restaurant was supposed to get blown up by a bomb, or there was a bomb. Oh, yes, it had been blown up by a bomb. So I was positioned on the floor and, of course, moments away from delivering. That was my whole arc for the show. And, thank God there was a friendly, awesome doctor that just happened to be in the restaurant, Dick Van Dyke, for this. And so I had to spend the entire time on set on the floor because it was took up too much time to keep repositioning me. So the entire day I was on the floor, and they brought pillows and blankets and stuff. But he was so sweet because he knew that I was stuck. He would come over and sit down next to me and sing Mary Poppins songs.
Oh my gosh.
Entertain.
That is so cool.
I had a private little show with Dick Van Dyke on the floor. And the crew members were used to it. They'd been working with him for years now. So I don't want to say they took it for granted, but they got to see it all the time, every day.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this was, Mary Poppins, I'm sorry. That was like the movie growing up. So to have Dick Van Dyke next to me just singing, and then he'd say, "Sing with me."
Really? Oh my God.
Sing with Dick Van Dyke.
My gosh, what an absolute delight that must have been. I mean, to be a guest star and then have that kind of interaction with that's incredible.
Amazing.
So obviously, as everyone's listening, both Kat and Eddie have done on-camera work and voice work. The two of you, have you ever had a I don't want to say let's say this. Have you ever had a specific choice you made as a certain character that you're doing something that maybe you guys like, this is great, and maybe something that's so subtle the fans never really notice or maybe ask about for either one of you?
A choice we made that worked?
Yeah, something that kind of elevated
I can give you that's a great question. I'm going to give you the inverse.
Okay.
Where I made a choice that was wrong and I was corrected and this person was right. Kat will tell you, my favorite director in animation, I don't know if Kat knows, I had a crush on her all these years. I don't know if she's still even working, Kat. Colette Sunderman. She did almost all our Dexter's episodes. She was our director. And the first Mandark episode, it goes maniacal laugh. I go, all right, Dexter, I'm going to get you. And it goes maniacal laugh. And I used to have this staple laugh. I would go, it was a one-note laugh. I go, ha. It was a nerd laugh. And as a nerd, that worked. But it doesn't sound like a maniacal laugh. It doesn't sound like a mad scientist. So I made a wrong choice. But I did the laugh. Crickets. Nobody laughed. Crickets. Colette said, no. She goes, why don't you try chopping it up? And I go, ha, 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 ha. And that was how I got the maniacal laugh, because she suggested that. And she, as you know, sometimes Kat and I, we've gone through the same thing. Sometimes we do make right decisions, and sometimes we're wrong. And you see, maybe the director's right. Maybe another actor will give you a tip, and you go, they're right, I'm wrong. And that was the time she was right, I was wrong. And I kept that laugh all through the series. I did it like every episode.
And same question to Kat. Is that ever like either the way he stated it or the original? Like, have you ever done something that maybe a fan didn't quite notice or hasn't asked about, but it's like, gosh, this is a choice that I made that really kind of elevated the character, the piece, whatever it was I was working on?
Such a great question. I mean, some of my earliest, really biggest gigs were voice matching other great actors. So I stole a lot from listening to Joan Cusack and Carrie Fisher and Sigourney Weaver. I mean, those were my first major gigs, was voice matching all these amazing actors, like impersonating them for projects. And when I finally had characters I was like creating, I would say maybe The Bride is a good example. Oh, that and Bloody Mary. For some reason, even though I'm terrified of horror films, I've booked a ton of great horror films. I don't know what that's about, but for The Bride, they were auditioning, to go back to Ryan's interesting question earlier. They were auditioning a ton of females for this, and they were just wedding vows without any direction other than do something clever with them. Do something clever with wedding vows. How do you do something clever with them? But I remember I wanted the gig so badly that I was pushing myself inside to just come up with a choice, any choice that would be different. And so I ended up hitting in like changing the meaning of them by hitting a different word than you normally would hit. Like, as long as we both shall live, I would hit as long as we both shall live. And somehow that clicked in my brain, like, oh, I could make all of them wicked and evil and playful if I emphasize a different word. That's, I guess, one example. And God knows where that inspiration came from, because I wouldn't say I'm like the quickest in terms of like improving or changing lines always. There's other talent who are much more gifted at that. Eddie will tell you there's some amazing people out there, just like, but that was one. And then Bloody Mary, which was a character that's crossed over into the Walking Dead universe, but started out on a famous video game called The Wolf Among Us. And she's a very evil villain, but she was sarcastic, and I pushed that. Like, sarcasm is something I do back east. It was all back east, so I leaned into the sarcasm, and that ended up being a good choice. Thank you.
Yeah, I was the question I was kind of thinking about too. You mentioned video games earlier, and my brain kind of cycles back to stuff we talked about. So this is not quite following in what we've just discussed, but I read an article that said a lot of younger people now in the Gen Alpha and the later Gen Z are going back and playing the old school video games. They're getting themselves, in some cases, a PlayStation 3, or they're getting an original, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and playing some of these. And someone just said they were playing the Buffy game that I believe you did, Kat, the Chaos Bleeds. Which I'm a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fanatic, so of course I've got all the Buffy games. And I was like, Kat did that. And I look, oh my gosh, you're on Buffy Chaos Bleeds too. So I think it's amazing that you're doing these games now that younger people are now finding, because the newer games just aren't, doing it for them, and they're going back and seeing these retro games, which I love. And I'm assuming you're getting people younger and younger coming up to you with video games or recognizing you from stuff you may have done 10 or 15 years ago, video game wise.
Yeah, not younger people. I would be really impressed if a 20-year-old came up, with one of those things to sign. But man, Buffy, I'll tell you one bit of trivia for that. The only game I ever lost my voice on while I was recording, because I was screaming so much.
Really?
And this is way back. I think Eddie can confirm this. They didn't have rules back then in terms of keeping the vocal stress sessions to a minimum. So you were at risk of losing your voice if you were doing a 4-hour session.
They call it.
Yeah, but wow. Exactly. Yeah, now you get a pay bump, and they have to limit.
So you lost it right in the middle of the session, Kat? You lost
literally.
How did you get through the session? How did you get through the rest of the session?
I mean, I was terrified. That was at it wasn't Sony. It was the company that Blizzard bought, Activision. It was at Activision. And I literally had to step outside for about 20 minutes just praying that it would come back. Yeah. And I got a little bit back, but I couldn't scream anymore. That was, we were done. So. Yeah.
We've got another call on the phone because we're running short on time. So caller, stand by. I'm going to try to get you if we can, but I want to mention a couple things first. Kat very generously has offered a vaulted Funko Pop of Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory that she is. There it is right there. If you're watching on camera, there it is. If you're listening, I posted a picture of a different one on my socials as well. She's very generously offered to give that to one lucky listener. She's going to sign it. She's going to have Eddie sign it, because unfortunately they haven't made a Mandark Funko Pop yet. And Kat's going to give you the details.
I'm going to totally be on Kat's back. It's her product, but I'll sign it too. I'm a parasite.
So Eddie will sign it as well, which is going to be fantastic. You'll get 2 great signatures if you're a Dexter's Lab fan. This is great. And Kat, I believe I'll let you give the details. If you're listening right now, Kat's going to tell you how to win that Funko Pop signed by both of them.
You have to fly to each of our hometowns. No,
you can drive.
Just follow us on Instagram. Just Instagram. If you haven't yet followed Eddie, the Grease Nerd, that's literally his handle. He just created that new account, so that's his new official account. And I'm just my name, Kat Cressida, not as cool and interesting a handle. But make sure you follow us. We'll see, who basically joined. You have till noon tomorrow to follow both of us. And basically, it's going to be one lucky winner. We're going to literally randomly put those names into my Dodger cap. Sorry, go Dodgers. And I'm going to pull out a name, and that will be the lucky winner. And we will FedEx ship it to you signed.
Wow. So that's very awesome. So yeah, if you're listening right now, at Cat Cressida on Instagram, at Grease, is it The Grease Nerd?
The Grease Nerd.
The Grease Nerd on Instagram. If you want to follow Eddie as well, so you have to follow both of them before noon tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So follow them by noon tomorrow.
President's Day.
And we'll President's Day. We'll make it noon Pacific time to give you East Coasters a little extra chance at it too. Is that right? So it'll be noon Pacific, which would be 3 Eastern. I'm bad with math. I went to public school.
Until 3 tomorrow, everybody.
There you go. So just make sure you follow them both, and they always post great content, so you're in for that anyway, and then you'll get a chance to win that drawing. And I want to, real quick, for our caller who's on line 1 here, we're going to spend a little bit more time with our guest here. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Zachary Nathanson.
Hi, Zachary. Do you have a question for Kat and or Eddie?
For both. Kat, I was going to ask you about The Wolf Among Us, which I really enjoyed. I was wondering, how do you feel looking back now on that project? And were you familiar with the Fables comics before you got involved? And to Eddie, I'd like to ask you, how do you feel looking back on working with Robert Zemeckis on the 1978 film, I Want to Hold Your Hand?
Okay.
Thank you very much and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Zachary. So we'll start with Kat on that one. Kat, go ahead.
I feel like Eddie should start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is an easy one. This is where you tee up the ball and I can hit a home run. Bob Zemeckis is the finest director I've ever worked with. He's like a father to me. That was his first movie. And to this day, I think, in my opinion, I think it's the best thing I ever did. I kind of played myself. I played a crazy Beatles nut. And Denise will tell you, I'm a Beatles nut of all time. So I played myself. I played a character called Ringo Klaus. But Bob Zemeckis is the finest director I ever worked with. I later worked with him in 1941. He wrote 1941, the movie with John Belushi. Sadly, John Belushi only left us with 7 movies. It's one of John Belushi's 7 films. Dan Aykroyd's first movie, John Candy's first movie. Zemeckis is incredible. Then later on, he wrote me into Polar Express. The Polar Express, the book, my character's not in it. Bob invented the character Know-It-All for me. He wrote a character just for me because he wanted me in the movie. And I got to be in it, and I worked with and Kat worked with him too. My favorite star is Tom Hanks. So I got to work with Tom, got to work with my favorite director, Bob Zemeckis. And last but not least, I'm Jewish, but I'm a Christmas nut. I love Christmas, my favorite day of the year. And it's a Christmas movie. I always want to do a Christmas film. So that was a joy. And Bob Zemeckis, I can't say enough about him. It's like, for me, it's like talking about Elvis. He's the greatest director I've ever had. He's like a father to me.
That's amazing.
So there's the Eddie half of your question, Zachary, and then over to Kat for the Kat half of the question.
So no, I was not familiar with the graphic novel of Fables, The Wolf Among Us. I was blown away when I finally saw the game. It was a very hard concept for me to understand because it was fairy tales set in a film noir world.
Mm-hmm.
And my character also was not from a fairy tale. It was from a children's, that warning about Bloody Mary and mirrors. But she became the main villainess of that. Anyway, I was not familiar with it. But when I saw clips of the video game, it was at an E3 convention that I first saw clips of it, cinematics of it. I was blown away. I could not believe how stunning and riveting and gorgeous this animation was. I wasn't used to video games being that beautiful and beautifully drawn, created, and crafted. So it was really an honor. I don't think I even knew what a big deal my character was. I didn't know she was like the primary villainess or villain until it had come out. So
Zachary, thank you for the question. We've got just a minute or two left. I want to say, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kat, you got a birthday coming up on March the 1st. So happy early birthday.
We're both Pisces. I'm the 6th, Kat.
Oh, nice.
I'm the 6th.
A pair of Pisces. Very nice. Do you any big plans? Do you do a blowout birthday, Kat, or are you kind of a quiet celebration type?
Funny you should ask. I'm going to be working at convention that weekend, Stockton Con up in, I can't believe I forgot that actually, maybe because it is on my birthday, but yes, that's in 2 weeks, Stockton Con in Central California near Sacramento. And that will be the first time I'm working a fan event during my birthday.
I can't imagine a cooler way to spend a birthday. Pat, you know who you share yours with? Ron Howard.
I share it with a lot of people. Justin Bieber too, apparently.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
But yes, Ron Howard.
Yes,
definitely.
I'd lean more into Ron Howard if I was between the two of them. And
speaking of Ron Howard, You all see this? Can you see?
Yes.
I can see it.
Look at that.
Great. Oh, Fonzie. Oh my God. Kat, that's my what's the word? Bucket list. He's the one person, we've both done the circuit for years. I've been doing these shows for 40 years, and I've never podcast with Henry Winkler. And
I got to sit and chat with him in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at my last convention in the break room, the VIP break room.
Right.
20 minutes with Henry Winkler.
Oh my God.
Talking about voiceover. It was amazing.
I think he's the greatest guy. He's like Dick Van Dyke. I've never heard a bad word said about him.
Yeah, I had him on the show a couple of years ago, and he truly is one of the nicest people I've ever met, especially at fan events. He takes the time to go up and down and shake everyone's hand. Yeah, he's fantastic.
I was booked for the show with him, and I was so excited. And then Ned said, it hit me like a knife in the heart. They go, we were overbooked, so my appearance was canceled. This was a couple months ago. I was, I would have paid to have been in that show just to meet Henry Winkler.
As we wrap up, I want to make sure we tell everyone if they want to keep up, because we already mentioned the shows you guys are both going to be at. I want to make sure we told your Instagram handles. Any last minute things you want to mention, like come see me here, or website, social media handles where people can keep up with you? We'll start with Eddie.
Yeah, mine, we did mention it, but I will be at the Texoma Comic Con in Durant, Oklahoma. That is this coming weekend, February 21st and 22nd, Saturday and Sunday. I will be there both days, signing both days. So that'll be my next show.
And then he'll be right here in St. Louis at Toyman at the Machinist Hall. He'll be there for you to come by on March the 8th. Bring your stuff. Bring your Grease on Blu-ray and DVD, and he'll sign all that stuff for you as well.
Dexter, whatever. I'd love to meet everybody, and that's going to be that's a joyous show too. I'm looking forward to it.
And I know Kat's coming back to that one too. Kat will be here in October on that one.
Yes. Okay, cool. No, November.
November. Okay. Yes,
for spooky season, which will be really cool. And then if you're a Disney fan and you're into Disney history, like the true OG Disney history, on X, I'm still on X. Every morning I drop a really cool behind the scenes lost video from Walt Disney's Days with Imagineering if you're into, and that's also my name, just Kat Cressida.
Kat Cressida, I'll put a link to that too, because I've been watching those, Kat, and they're very enjoyable. They're so enjoyable to watch. So Eddie Deezen, Kat Cressida, fantastic to be able to talk to you both. Thank you for your time tonight. And remember, follow them both on Instagram before noon Pacific tomorrow. They'll get that autographed Funko Pop sent to you. So make sure you're following them both. Thank you so much for your time and your talent. And we'll talk to you both again very soon.
Love you, James. Love you, Eddie.
Thank you both so much.
Great seeing you.
Take care. There they go. Thank you very much for all your calls and questions. We're not done yet. We've still got some, I've got my interview to play. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We're going to come back in just a moment. My interview with Craig Ferguson, where you can catch him with his Pants on Fire tour. He'll talk a little bit of voiceover with me too, and he'll have a new CNN series coming out later this year. He'll talk a little bit about that. Stay tuned. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
Jazzy Jacket!
Pound puppies and outfits, each sold separately.
Wow! Now let's walk to the park. Uh-oh, thunder. Put on your dry doggy rain gear, and you'll stay dry as a bone.
Hooded Hound t-shirt, dry doggy rain gear, Pups Jazzy Jacket, and Pound puppies all sold separately. From town.
Max Steel Robo Force! Hunter the Conqueror is about to attack Max Steel the Leader! Wrecker the Demolisher to the rescue!
Ideal's new Robo-Force. Warrior robots with gripper bases and crusher arms, each sold separately.
Hundreds escaping!
Okay in there?
Okay, Dad! But we won't be safe till we're rid of Hundred.
Hundred the Conqueror, Max Steel the Leader, Wrecker the Demolisher, each sold separately. New from Ideal's Robo-Force.
Long ago at Rose Petal Place, Orchid met Nastina, the evil spider. Doll sold separately.
Oh no, Orchid, it's Nastina! Wait till I tiptoe through your tulips, Rose Petal. Watch out, Nastina, the sky is falling.
Hi, this is Carl Lovely, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show, Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday night on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstall. We want to make sure we tell you about St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. Discover stcharles.com is the website. Plan your trip. Always something cool going on down there. Ice sculpting events, cool holiday festivals. They've got music days. They've got food truck days in Frontier Park. That's not even mentioning the fantastic shops and restaurants they've got, like the Main Street Arcade, like Cozy Shop, like First Capital Trading Inc., and a whole bunch of other shops you can go check out. Small businesses, restaurants. If you're looking for some new food, maybe you want to try something new, place you haven't eaten at before, try the Main House. Try Salt and Smoke right there. Try getting some macarons from Sugar and Slice. You can't get a bad meal. Novellis has fantastic breakfast. Always a good time to check out St. Charles, whether you're on the West Coast like Kat, the East Coast like Eddie, or you're right here in Alton, Illinois. Maybe you're here in Florissant, have been across the bridge for a while. Go check them out. DiscoverStCharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Now up, my next interview with Craig Ferguson. Joined right now by one of my personal favorite late-night talk show hosts. He's got a tour coming through the Factory here in Chesterfield on the 12th. Doing a tour throughout Nashville, Kentucky, and a couple other places we'll talk about with his Pants on Fire tour. Craig Ferguson, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. I want to start out, one of my favorite voices you did was on Freakazoid, Roddy McStew. Huge fan of that. A lot of the voiceover actors, they kind of started out as celebrities and they've kind of gotten into it lately. You've been doing this for quite a while. How do you find voice work?
I love doing voice work. I mean, it's the only part of show business you can do where you really don't have to wear makeup or even pants, to be honest. You're just going to sit there and do it. There's not a lot of preparation. You can read the script straight into the microphone, and it's also kind of a great thing to do because you can be anything, like when I did the How to Train Your Dragon thing, I was like the Viking with all the bits cut off me, or when I did Winnie the Pooh, I was the owl. You know what I mean? It's lovely. You're not limited by what you look like. You can be anybody or anything. It's fun.
And on that show, you got to work with such fantastic people, Ricardo Montalban, Ed Asner. It's amazing the talent that was in those shows, kind of in almost a golden age renaissance for animation in the 90s.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. I did that one, and I did, there was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and I can't remember some of the other. I think I did the Angry Beavers show as well. There was a bunch of shows that I did that I really loved doing. It was a good time.
And with the Pants on Fire tour, we mentioned you'll be here at the Factory on the 12th, Lexington, Kentucky on the 13th. You're doing a show on Valentine's Day, Nashville, Tennessee, for all the lovers out there. Bristol, Tennessee on the 15th, Morgantown, West Virginia on the 20th. And then it looks like you take a break after Northampton. You just kind of do you need those little breathers in between doing these tours?
Yeah, I got other work going on. I mean, but what I do is, and most stand-ups I know who have been doing it for a while do it this way, that you've got to go out there and do gigs every year, even if you're not, you got to go and do it to keep kind of current. You know what I mean? You must always play some clubs. You must always go out and do what you do, because that's how I started. I started doing stand-up. I've always done it since I was a kid, and I always felt like keeping it alive is really important to me. It was my first love, and I still love it.
And you got to do a lot of that improv, because I know the Late Show that you did for over almost 10 years, you had a lot of improv type of stuff. You kind of went away from the cue cards and just, we're going to do the bits in between that everyone seems to really like. That must have been great because you've got, again, that live interaction with your audience.
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it, is keep it loose and keep it there. I only have one rule that I give myself for stand-up comedy. One rule, and that's it. And the rule is this: no politics. I never talk about politics. I'm never going to do it again. Yeah. And the reason I did it was just because I felt like, I don't know about you, man, but I'm tired of listening to people I even agree with. So I'm like, nah, I don't want to talk about that. So, and I feel like it's not like it's an area where it's undersubscribed. I mean, if people are not going to go, oh no, where will I get my political humor if I can't talk, listen to Craig Ferguson? It's all right. There's plenty of other places to get it.
And not to be political, but I am very intrigued by your upcoming American on Purpose tour. It'll be on CNN celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country later this year. I love those on-the-road type of things. Is that completely wrapped? Are you still doing bits of that, still kind of filming, still kind of editing?
No, I'm still working on it a little bit. I've got a couple more days filming. I'm in Terminal 4 at JFK right now and about to fly to Los Angeles to do some filming on that particular show, and then I'll be coming to see you guys. So it's still kind of going on. We're nearly finished it, but we're still working on it.
And I want to ask you about, you're doing Scrabble right now, hosting on the CW on Thursdays, if you want to check that out. It seems like with the ebb and flow of what's been popular on TV, going from a 22 episodic, now the streaming services, you do 8 to 10 episodes for a show. Game shows have never lost their luster. Everyone loves game shows. It's always a mass appeal. What do you think it is about game shows that has that appeal to everybody on a constant level?
I think this is genuine family watching. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and also you can watch a game show if you're 10 years old, if you're 90 years old, if you're 45 and in a bad mood and your kids are annoying you, because it's not like nothing's going to happen that really bugs you. You know, it engages you without kind of making you feel like you have to watch all of it or you have to watch all of them. I love doing game shows and I love watching them because I think it's like you say, it's like old timey TV. You know, it's really enjoyable. And I love it for that feeling.
And I have to ask you about the Drew Carey show. We had Dietrich Bader on the show last year, and he said it was such a great experience filming that, and there was that camaraderie of the cast, and you guys were all, you know, there was improv moments on that sometimes got left in. How was your experience on that show as well?
The same as Dietrich. I mean, Dietrich and I'm still friends with these guys. I mean, that's 30 years ago now?
Yeah.
I mean, in show business, that's unheard of. But you know, I'm friends with Drew and Dietrich and Ryan I haven't seen in a while, but Kathy, who played Mimi in that show, Kathy Kinney, we still talk all the time. I mean, it's like, you know, we've been in each other's lives since then.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And going back to your talk show, again, probably one of my top 4 favorite. If there was a Mount Rushmore of talk show host, you'd be solidly in the Abraham Lincoln spot. The guests you've had, I always go back if I just need a little bit of a laugh. I go back and rewatch clips, and I love you got to talk to 2 of my idols, Don Rickles and Robin Williams, and those clips never fail to make me smile. Did you have a favorite guest who was just like you knew you were in for a good time when that show got booked by that particular person?
Well, there was too many, really. I mean, but those 2 guys you named, I became friendly with both of those men, which is really, you know, was really a gift that I didn't see coming. I mean, it was not just interviewing them, but then we would go out and we would have dinner together and, you know, with their wives and their families and stuff like that. It was great. And I loved both those guys. They were both such sweet men and amazing comedians.
And with all the work you've done on those, I know, like I said, Robin Williams and Don Rickles, 2 of my favorite. I noticed the YouTube hits on your talk show keep going up. It's one of those things that hasn't been on the air since 2014, I think, and you're still getting consistent hits. That's got to make you feel good because obviously there was great substance to those conversations.
You know, it's funny. I remember at the time, somebody, you know, when I decided I was going to quit and we're leaving, it was a television executive said to me, you know, people love this show. They're going to miss it. And I'm like, they might love it now, but they're going to love it a lot more when I stop doing it. And I think I was right. It's just one of those things. It seems to have stuck and it stays around. And I'm glad of that. I'm proud of that show. I think we did a great job and I'm really glad we did it. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to do it anymore, but I'm really, really proud of it. I think we did something a little different and a little cool.
And you're award-winning. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Emmy and Peabody Award-winning. Your interview with Archbishop Desmond Tutu got the Peabody Award, Emmy Award. You strike me as the kind of person who awards are nice, but they don't define you or mean anything like, oh, now I've made it because I've got an Emmy or a Peabody. You strike me as that kind of person. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, it's really nice to get. I'd rather get an award than not get an award. But that's not what the thing is. It's not about that. It's about being able to do something that you feel is fun or worth it or has value in some way.
And with the writing and with the directing and with the stand-up tour, where do you feel if you had to, if someone said, hey, from now on, you can only do this aspect of your career, what would you want to do? Movies and TV? Would you want to keep writing? Do you like the stand-up? Where's kind of where you feel you're most comfortable?
I think probably if I told the truth, I think probably it would be writing or stand-up. They're both kind of the same thing. It's a solo expression of what you feel, and writing is a different way of doing it. But I think that's really it for me. It's about the singular expression of your observation or how you feel or what you're doing on it. It's the purest form of it, I think.
And when you're writing, what's the best thing for writer's block? Obviously, you've experienced what you personally find gets you through writer's block.
Sitting down and typing until something decent comes out. You know, that's all you do. I don't really believe in it. It's just kind of like, if you don't feel like doing it, that's fine. But, it's like you just got to keep going, keep working.
And again, if you're just now listening, the Pants on Fire Tour, there are few tickets left. Please get them while you can at the factory here in St. Louis on Thursday, the 12th. Thank you so much. Safe travels to you. Good luck in L.A., and we can't wait to see you here in St. Louis on the 12th. Craig Ferguson, it's a great pleasure. Hopefully we can have you back on.
All right, that's great. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. Be well.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. I didn't want to do the music over his talking because I wanted that full interview to get out, but obviously this is the end of the show. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you're also getting your tickets for the #2 Rivers Comic Con. We got some new guest announcements coming up here in the next couple of days. We'll be announcing guests. So that's going to do it. Joey V's in studio. I didn't turn the camera around. I'm sorry. We'll talk to you next week.
The Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.